Hi everyone, this is Erin. It's June the 12th, 2016, and I'm going to read a message I got here from Maria Patricia yesterday, and it looks like it was written by Schaeffer Cox on, was this March 24th, 2014. It says, Terry and Doug, this is the rundown count by count. I'll keep it short and to the point. If you have any other questions, I'd love to answer them. Just write or email them to me. You can read on my bad attorney situation with Mrs. Suzanne Elliott online. Basically, it's this. I was the most successful Second Amendment organizer and advocate to hit Alaska in a long time. This entire case is a Second Amendment case, and Suzanne is a left-wing gun control activist pretending to represent me. It's going to set some dangerous and sweeping precedent if she is allowed to stay on the case and not challenge any of this stuff. I really need the NRA, GOA, or JPFO to step in and help. Not just me, but all of us. I'm first, you're next. Here's the laundry list. Count 1. Conspiracy to possess unregistered silencers, 5 years. The informant tried to sell me a silenced .22, and I told him no thanks. Because I wouldn't buy it, they couldn't charge me with purchasing or possession, so they charged me with conspiracy to possess. Also, they told me that the guy selling it was a legal licensed dealer, so the unregistered part is a little confusing. But I didn't want the gun anyway, so I hadn't looked into it much. Count 2. Possession of unregistered destructive devices. 4 grenades, 10 years. These weren't real grenades. They were the cast iron replicas. The FBI got these replica shells out of a gun show box that had holsters, cleaning kits, old magazines, and other miscellaneous type stuff. Then they got some old powder from my reloading bench and some JB Weld from my friend's work trailer and some smoke bomb fuses from my field bag and said that I had enough parts to make 4 working grenades if I wanted to. The fuses had been thrown in by an undercover agent who owned a gun shop when I bought other stuff there. If not for that, I wouldn't have even had the fuses. Count 3. Possession of an unregistered silencer, 10 years. This is a homemade silencer I made out of a rubber hose. I stuck it over the muzzle of a Walther .22 and filled it with cotton balls and shaving cream. It didn't work very well. Count 4. Possession of an unregistered machine gun, 10 years. This was a homemade replica of a Sten I made myself. It looked good on my mantle, but it never would fire properly. But that was okay because it was for display only. On this and on the garden hose silencer, quote, 2, I had actually gone down to the ATF office and asked if I needed to get the $200 stamp tax on them. He told me that if I ever sold them or if they crossed state lines, I would, because a sale is a taxable event and crossing state lines involves interstate commerce. That sounded reasonable, and they are legal under Alaska law, so I didn't worry about it. We brought this up at pretrial motion, and the judge said it was a question for the jury, but then at the trial the judge said we couldn't present the question to the jury. Lying judge. Count 5. Illegal possession of a machine gun, 10 years. I don't know how this is different from count 4, but it's 10 more years. Count 6, making a silencer, 10 years. This is the garden hose and the cotton balls. Count 10, possession of unregistered destructive device, hornet's nest and flare launcher, 10 years. I'm the first person ever to be charged with this. The flare launcher accepts a variety of different cartridges, including smoke, pepper spray powder, line spools, whistlers, and rubber bouncy balls, aka Hornet's Nest. They sell them over the counter at Walmart, marinas, and sporting goods stores. They are totally legal to buy and own. But the judge put his own interpretation, which had never been used anywhere by anyone ever before, that if it is intended to be used as a weapon, then you have to register it. Of course, of the tens of thousands of hornets' nests out there, 0 are registered. I'm the only person ever to have this item treated like a destructive device. It's not even a dangerous weapon. It feels like being shot with multiple paintballs at once. It hurts, but it won't injure you. Count 12, conspiracy to murder officers and employees of the United States, 27 years. This is the scary one. As detailed in my 3-20-14 motion for leave of court to proceed pro se, the government made dozens of failed attempts to get me to plot an act of violence with an informant. After 3 years of striking out, they just really didn't have anything. So they argued it this way. Because I believe in the Second Amendment and because I believe it's not just for hunting or defending yourself from petty criminals, but that the Founding Fathers actually put it there as a final check on a government that might one day become insubordinate and dangerous to the people, and because I had made public speeches to the effect. They argued that they had the first element of conspiracy, which is an agreement. They claimed that defending yourself from a government, regardless of what the circumstances might be surrounding this speculative future scenario, would necessarily include the use of force, which in their mind amounts to murder. The second element of the conspiracy statute is an overt act in furtherance of the agreement. They claimed that me owning lots of guns and stockpiling ammunition was an act in furtherance of my beliefs, and thus satisfied the second prong of the conspiracy statute's two-prong test. I didn't think I would get convicted of this. I thought it was totally absurd. They could send half of America to prison under this logic. I'm starting to think that might actually be the plan. And if Mrs. Elliott, my left-wing activist attorney, has her way, it will all go unquestioned. This will open the floodgates and end run all of our efforts to stop gun control by simply criminalizing the beliefs of gun owners. The precedent that has been set here is that you can either own firearms or you can believe in the original construction of the Second Amendment. But if you do both, it satisfies the requirements of a conspiracy statute that carries a life sentence. Is that just creepy or what? This is a fight that concerns every gun rights group in America and that people need to be rallied around. Of course, the government is going to try to cloud the issue by personally villainizing me. That's how they get their foot in the door and the precedent set for the rest of us. And for every person who thinks I'm a crazy-eyed wild man, there's someone who thinks I'm a kind and loving, conscientious guy. That's not the issue. The issue is this dangerous and extreme precedent that is being allowed to advance Count 16. Solicitation of others to murder federal officials, 20 years. I'm not sure about this one. I think it's just rolled into count 12 because the government never made any argument or presented any evidence on it. Count 15. Carrying a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence as to count 12. I was found not guilty of this one. They claim that because count 12 is a crime of violence by definition, and because I was known to keep a pistol in my pocket, that I had carried a firearm while believing the stuff I believed, the believing being what constituted the crime. However, the judge told the jury that the pistol in my pocket had to have been used to actually facilitate the crime. I guess the jury found that the pistol was not actually used in a crime of mindset, a thought crime, to borrow a phrase. Anyway, that's what we are working with. I need some high-powered help. Schaeffer. I just press pause.
Pause or stop? You hold on.
I press pause.
Oh, it's still recording right now. You're still recording.
Okay.